Hello and welcome to the Connect Show, where we're connecting students to careers. I'm Casey Turner. Today we have a special guest, Vanessa Longuski, professional photographer with her own company, Moments Captured by Vanessa. She's here to talk to us about her own career, give us some advice for others wanting to pursue a career in photography. Vanessa,
Hi.
Thanks for joining us today.
Yes,
Very
you're
thankful to
welcome.
have you on the show. It's been a couple years I've been wanting to have you in here, so I appreciate you coming in today to talk with the students.
I'm happy to be here.
Here's a question for you, just to kind of kick it off. Was photography something like you just as like a little babe wanted to do like your whole life? You've always wanted to be in photography, or how'd you get into it?
I mean, I always took photos. My dad took a lot of photos, just not professionally, but it was just something we always did. But honestly, I did not know that I was going to go into this career till my senior year of high school. I was going to be an interior designer.
Yeah.
And I had all my college applications sent in for that and changed my mind at the last minute. I was part of the yearbook staff.
Oh.
And I did a lot of the photos and realized it was kind of fun.
Wow.
So then I ended up going to Central and studied photography.
Really cool.
Yeah.
Just kind of fell into it.
Kind of.
Let's talk about a little bit about your educational background. Like, so high school to Central, what was that like? What is your educational background?
Yeah, so I went to BADX school my whole life, graduated in '03, and then went to Central. I actually started in the art photography department. So believe it or not, it was all film.
Okay, cool.
So every photo we took, we actually had a notebook. We had to write down what shutter we used, ISO, aperture, and keep track of everything. And then we would take our film and develop it and then figure out what print we wanted to develop. And it was a real process.
Oh, yeah.
And it was fun. I loved it. So I did that for my first 2 years. And then I learned that the photojournalism department was digital. I was like, oh, that's going to be so cool.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to switch. So then I went over to the photojournalism and learned digital photography for my last 2 years. Ended up graduating with a bachelor's degree with concentration in photography. While I was there, I worked for CM Life for a semester and realized it was not my thing.
Okay.
So I love taking photos, but I did not like to write captions. And I didn't like having a set schedule where they would call, like if there was, something that happened, hey, can you go shoot this real quick? And I just like having more of a set schedule, something planned.
Yeah.
So I did graduate with my bachelor's, and then I started taking classes through PPA, Professional Photographers of America.
Okay.
And learn more portraiture and things like that.
Wow.
I ended up getting my master's through them in, I want to say 2018.
Wow.
So it took a
What an
while between,
accomplishment.
graduating from college and getting that, but,
Yeah.
it was okay. I started my business right away through one of my classes at school. Actually, I had a business class.
Great.
Where we needed to create a business. So I created Moments Captured by Vanessa.
Yeah.
So I started my business in '07 officially. And that's it.
Wow, an entrepreneur, a photographer, and you've kind of went through and tried some things and saw things that you liked and things you didn't like, and you kind of found your way.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool. I think a lot of people have that story,
Yeah.
Similar, just kind of working their way through things. Our next question is kind of like, what do you enjoy most? Like, people get up every day and they're like either motivated or they're not. Is there something about your job that you really enjoy the most? Is there an aspect of it that you like?
Honestly, my favorite thing is meeting the families and getting to know them, like over the years. Was it last year? I think I photographed, was it 2 years ago? I lose track, it's been a while.
Yeah.
But I photographed a baby as a newborn and then did his senior pictures.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's fun to like get to know people, and sometimes I feel like I become part of the family,
Absolutely.
So I really enjoy that aspect. And of course, I love taking the photos. Some of the other stuff, I could deal with them. But yeah, so Yeah, just being around people and
Yeah.
seeing
Relational.
yeah,
Relationships.
seeing their personalities and how they grow
Yeah.
is a lot of fun.
Do you find that as you get to know people, that's also helps you maybe capture them in those images? Like, you
Oh,
know what I'm saying?
absolutely.
Because it's like if
Yes.
you don't know somebody,
Yeah.
how do you really capture who they are?
No, because that's exactly what I try to do in every photo I take. Because what works for one person doesn't work for another person.
Yeah.
Or some people like this style and some people don't. So as you get to know them, to actually capture their personality
Yeah.
means so much.
Yeah.
Because it's something that they'll actually love forever. Then like, oh, it was okay, but
Right.
like to actually hold on to their personality is super important.
Very cool. Hence the name, Moments Captured
Yeah.
by Vanessa. Look her up. Awesome. Okay. For students that are looking to get into this, what's like a typical week like I can't say it's typical week, I don't know, but I was going to do a day, but I just decided to do a week. What's a week look like for a photographer?
There's really nothing typical, like you said, because every day is different.
Yeah.
But some days I might have one photo session, some days I might have 4 or 5. Like, just really depends. But I would say more of a typical process would be like when I have a photo session. Of course, you schedule a day and time. You figure out what they want. Do they want it inside, outside? If it's indoor, then I always check to see what they're going to be wearing that day so I can have something to match, whether they want it formal, casual, or if it's like a small child. Like I need to know how old they are. Are they sitting up yet? Are they newborn?
Yeah.
So, I mean, as far as a typical week, obviously I'm taking and editing photos,
Yeah.
but more of the process is getting everything set up, ready for the photo shoot. And then that's the fun part. And then after that, of course, you have the editing and
Yeah.
uploading and filing and, backing everything up. So I would say that's more of a typical process than any day of the week.
Okay.
It depends if I have a wedding, if I'm doing mini sessions, it's kind of all over the place.
Yeah. Do you like that difference of being able to do, like a baby portrait setting and then do a wedding or an event? I mean, do you like that change or?
I do, yeah, because otherwise I would get bored.
Yeah.
And like this time of year, it's a little bit slower. So right now, I'm doing a lot of sorting through my favorite photos to upload them to my website and making new window prints and backing things up. So it's kind of a little change in pace depending on the time of year too.
Yeah. Okay, you ready for a hard question?
Sure.
Okay. What's difficult about your job? Is there anything that's hard? What's the hardest part about being a photographer?
Hardest part.
Yeah. Or what's difficult?
I would say not necessarily the hardest part about being a photographer, but the hardest part about the job overall is that I'm only one person. So I can't clone myself. If I'm out shooting somewhere like at the beach and someone wants to come pick up photos, I can't be at the studio and photographing someone at the same time.
Right.
So it's really hard to just manage everything together.
Yeah.
I would say that's probably the most difficult.
Okay.
It's like, okay, do I need to sweep the floor? Do I need to get something ready? Do I need to do bookwork? Do I need to go gas up my car before I go to my shoot, charge batteries? Like, it's just making everything work together
Yeah.
is probably the hardest part.
Yeah.
And some parts I like more than others,
It's probably nice to be your own boss, but on the other side, it's like it's all you. It's all on you.
Like if you have a wedding, you can't be sick.
Yeah.
Like you're going, you know?
Yeah.
So so that would probably be the hardest thing.
Yes. Okay. Let's talk about projects. Have you any interesting projects or any maybe interesting clients that you've been able to work with over the years?
Yeah. So, okay, projects versus clients.
Yeah.
I love all my clients. Like, they're all interesting in their own way. So would I say, oh, this person was more interesting than that person? No.
Okay.
Projects. One really cool project was when the wind turbines were going up. They hired me to photograph all of the construction.
Oh, wow.
So that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Because I got to be kind of right
Yeah.
there with them and actually go in them. And
Oh, cool.
yeah, so that was cool. And it was an amazing process to actually see them being
I
built
bet.
and right,
Yeah.
right with them. I guess other cool things that kind of stick out, and which I really haven't done too many lately, but I used to do a lot of destination weddings.
Oh,
So like Puerto Vallarta, Cancun,
yeah.
a couple places in Jamaica, Vegas.
Yeah.
So some of the travel was really fun.
Yeah. So they're
Yeah.
flying you out to
Yeah.
be the photographer. That's cool.
Yeah.
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 Let's talk about recognition. I was noticing that you have won some awards, and I think that's pretty amazing. What have you like? What recognition have you received for your work, and then how important is that in the industry of what you do?
So as far as importance, I mean, it's not like you need to win an award to be a photographer.
Right.
So it's not like, it's more self-satisfaction, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
As far as the awards that I've won, geez, I gotta think about it.
She's like, the list is so long.
It's not that long. I mean, here or there. So, I through PPA, I would enter print competitions, and I've won Best in Show for child's photography. And the Knot, that's for weddings. I won Best of Weddings multiple years in a row. They actually inducted me into their Hall of Fame, which was
Really?
kind of cool.
That
Yeah.
is really cool.
Yeah. And then like some of the awards are more local, like Reader's Choice in the Tribune
Oh, yeah.
or The View, things like that.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's definitely a variety there.
Yeah.
And it's just reassuring, like, okay, I'm doing the right thing.
Absolutely.
But as far as importance, do you actually need them? Not necessarily.
It is nice to have. It's
Yeah.
great to put on your business card or to share with people. It's really cool. And I do think that's great. When I ask around in the community, when I first moved up here, I heard your name thrown out. So it's like, it's great. You probably don't even have to advertise because your word of mouth and your recognition and who you are, people know you. So I think that's awesome. That just speaks a lot for a company.
Well, thank you.
Now I have a lot of students that are asking questions about gear because they're broke. Let's just be real. But does gear matter? I mean, like, does it really matter? Some people's, I'm just kind of curious. Do you think for someone starting out, do they need to have like the most expensive equipment?
No, absolutely not. When I first got my equipment, I bought used equipment, because, and it was still great.
Yeah.
Sometimes people are switching from Nikon to Sony or to Canon, and they just, not that it's broke or anything, and you're paying a fraction of the price.
Right.
Or, let's say your kid played soccer, so you bought a really cool lens. Well, now you don't need it anymore, so they sell it.
Right.
So used equipment is kind of a good way to go.
Yeah.
Or refurbished, because it's like new. So do you need to buy the brand new, top of the line everything? No.
Yeah.
I saw something once, and it was like, if you're cooking, does the stove make the food or does the chef prepare it? And that's kind of like a photographer. Like, did you set up the shot, create the lighting, get the right angle, do the pose, or did the camera do all the work?
Right.
It's like, it's not necessarily the person that is the wealthiest that has everything, So, no, you don't need the most expensive. Now, I will say, do some lenses do other things that some don't, a wide angle versus telephoto? Yes. I mean, that does make a difference.
Yeah.
But does it need to be expensive? Not necessarily.
That's great. Good advice. All right. If a student's looking to get into photography, which I do know some students that are looking to go into photography, do you have any advice that you might give them? Somebody in today's world that's like, hey, I want to get into this. What advice would you give to somebody?
I would say the best thing to do is just be passionate about what you're doing. Have care for your clients, care the path you're going to take. So if you want to go into commercial photography versus portraiture, just don't give up. You'll find the avenue you're supposed to if that is what you truly love.
Yeah.
And, it might take a couple years, But if you love it and you're passionate about it and patient, then you'll succeed.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, I really appreciate that advice. I think that's good for students to hear because we hear that a lot, actually. A lot of people think I've got to have X, Y, Z, check this and this off, but it's ambition, it's a passion, it's a vision, it's these things that get you to that next spot. So appreciate you sharing that. We're going to wrap today's show up, so I want to thank you all for joining us, and I want to thank Vanessa for being our guest here on the Connect Show. And I want to thank all of you for watching this content today. You can check out our YouTube channel for more great stories from right here in the great state of Michigan. So you all have a great day.